Welcome to the coasters module. There's a lot of stuff to do here. A lot of ways of doing these things. This is a really fun thing to do. And so without further ado, let's start with what you're going to need. The first thing you're going to need is your wood. Same old, good old stuff wood. I love this stuff. I really, really do. You can use this so many different ways. Anyway, you're going to need a saw. You're going to need a template to cut out your stuff like this. This is a lid off of a large peanut butter jar, and it's the perfect size to do round coasters. It's perfect. You're going to need little feet like this. Get up close where you can see them. I don't know if you can actually see that too well, but they're little vinyl feet. You need those, or you can do without those, but I prefer to use them. You're going to need sandpaper. You're going to need a pen, and you're going to need the plastic wood. I'm not even going to bother showing it to you. You've seen it before. Well, hell, what the heck. Here's the plastic wood. You're going to need that. You're going to need the liquid vinyl, the usual stuff, and you're going to need things to put on it. In some cases, these are photographs that we're going to use on the ones that we're going to make, or at least try to make. I've got some that are about halfway done. I've got another set that we're going to show you. I've got a bunch of samples. I'm going to show you those. They don't have to be round. You can do odd shapes like this. You can do hexagons, octagons like this, or you can do a whole bunch of different shapes that I'm going to show you. I've got a whole bunch of them sitting here and different ways of doing them, different paints to use, all kinds of things. These are really, really fun to do. Anyway, so we'll get started. Oh yeah, you're also going to need Craft Bond. This is the Elmer's Craft Bond glue. It's not the school glue, it's Craft Bond. School glue doesn't glue for the purpose that we're going to use. So you want the Craft Bond. It's all purpose. It's a permanent bond, okay? Use that. Brushes, of course. We use the same two brushes we used in the last module. We're not going to use any foam in these. And that's about it. So, also, if you're going to do round like these, you want to make a template like this out of a heavy board. You see the little grooves in there? That's to locate the feet if you're going to use feet, and I strongly suggest you use feet because that's a big selling point. Anyway, I'll show you how to use that. Okay, I guess that's about it. I'm going to, excuse me, like I say, I've still got a cold. I'm just doing this one right after the other one. You need the bucket, you need your water with the brush cleaner in it. You're going to need paints. I haven't got any paints out here, so I'm not even going to bother showing you paints. But you don't, just any kind of paint. You can use any paint you want on this. Okay, I'm going to set up the thing. We got a lot of different things to do here, and I will get to it, and I'll show you where we go from here. Okay, so let me get the thing turned around, and we'll get started. Okay. Using these. The round cutout, I've got a whole bunch of them. I've got a stack of them here. I always cut out more than I'm going to need for a job because you never know when you're going to do them, and because it's messy and you get the sawdust and everything, I cut out a whole bunch of different shapes all at one time, unless it's going to be a custom order like these. And the hexagons, I always cut out a couple of sets of that. I've already got one of those done. Anyway, once you have these done, I'm going to just go ahead and show you on one here what this little thing here is for. Lay that down, lay that onto it, just like that, and then just take your pen and mark like that. And the point is where the middle of the foot will locate. Okay, now I'll bring this up here and show it to you. See the little marks there? And that's where your feet will go on. Now, you don't want to glue the feet on until one of the last things you're going to do. I'll show you that here. Set these aside for the time being. Set that aside. Now I've got a set here that I started on. I haven't finished it completely. their Alfa Romeo logo, like that. And I've got a set of 4 of those. The feet are on those and on that one. They're not on that one. And they're halfway done on that one. So, I've already showed you, and I've already gone around most of the way on this, and I'm going to finish it up. You have to be kind of careful on this. Using the plastic wood again. Use the smaller of the 2 brushes. Just go around and push it right along to the edge there, just like we did before. You don't have to put this on very heavy. I mean, you want to put it on decently heavy, but it doesn't have to be like it will be on the other things. These are already spoken for. I have a friend that has an Alfa Romeo, and he wanted these, so I'm doing these for him just as a gift. He wants them painted red. And you finish up the sides. And we're almost done there. Okay. Wash the brush, set this aside to dry. On the other 3. Okay, clean the brush. Always clean the brush, get the rag out, do the rag. Set that aside. Okay. Now, we're going to take 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do the 4 of these, put this one back. We got 4 of them here. What we're going to do now is, let me cover this back up. Now, with these photographs that I showed you before, these have been sprayed. You have to take these and spray them with clear coat before you cut them out. Once you printed it, you've got to cut them out. You've got to cut them out, and then you see the little white line around here? That's going to be the edge of where the plastic wood goes once we glue them down. But you've got to spray these with a clear coat before you cut them out, because you need protection over here, because this is water soluble. The ink, once you spray it, it's not water soluble anymore, and any little spills or boo-boos you make, you can always go back and fix it, okay? So, with that said, we will take our glue and just go around on these. Make sure you get it everywhere, all the way around. And you can actually, the nice thing I like about this too is you can actually see where you've missed, if you've missed anywhere at all. Okay? And this is also water soluble while it's wet, so you can wash it right off. This is probably one place where you want to wear plastic gloves. I did not, again, because I'm still out here at the same time. Now you take this, you take your pictures, your photos, if you want to use a photo, kind of lay it down roughly where it's supposed to go, like that. You can move it around now just a little bit if it's not exactly where you want it. Tap it down like that. Turn it over and press. There you go. And you do all of them that way. Okay? I'll go ahead and finish these up, and I'll just talk while I'm doing it. You can use about any kind of photo you want, but you just have to remember that they have to fit round, or you can do square ones, but I'm just doing, I do mostly round. Round is the biggest seller. Round ones always sell better than the other shapes. Because I guess people are just used to seeing round. I don't know. But it's all the same thing. Okay, get it positioned a little bit better, like that. Turn it over, press. That's 2. I'm going to do all of these right now because I don't want to leave the photos sitting out. If you're going to do portraits, little kids, stuff like that, you can just make sure that when you do it, you've got to draw the circle on there. And these are about 4.5 inches in diameter, and I make the photos, the circle inside of it, about 4 inches. They don't all have to be exactly the same, as you can tell. As long as it stays inside the wood, you're going to be okay. That one's done. And of course, if you're not using photos, we're going to see that here in just a second, as soon as I get these all done. I love this glue. I was really kind of leery about using this at one time. Then I saw it was permanent bond. I said, you know what, I'll give it a try. And this has been several years ago, and I've got a couple in the house, some coasters with photographs on them that I did way back then, and they are still flat stuck. Of course, when you put the okay, that takes care of that. We'll set these aside. Oh, damn it. I messed that up. I'll fix that later. Okay. Now, we have some here that I have already got pretty well done. I haven't put feet on them yet, as you can see. But these were done with the plastic wood full strength. It's the hard stuff, the really stiff stuff, thick. And I used a palette knife. And as you can see, they are very rough, and nothing is going to sit on these very well the way they are, okay? So what we have to do is sand them down to get it smooth, to where, not really smooth, but to give it, to where it's level in enough spots where the glass will sit flat. So all you do is just take the sandpaper and start sanding it down. I'm not going to use that right now. We're going to come back to those in a minute. I need a bigger piece of sandpaper to do these with. So I'm going to leave that. In fact, I'm going to put this on pause and go get the sandpaper. I'll be right back. Okay, we've got a large piece of sandpaper here. You want to take these and just lay them on the bottom like that and just sand. This is very coarse, by the way. You can see that it's already taken it off. You can see how it's starting to smooth out in certain places there. You just keep going. You just keep sanding until you get it to where it has to be. It's getting there. You can see how it's looking. Now I got to get rid of this. Oof. There. That looks like it's flat enough to hold anything that we're going to do. Okay? You just want to do them all the same way. When they're done, you can just paint them whatever color you want. You can use spray paint, whatever. It doesn't matter. Now, sometimes you're going to find a little edge right here, and you might want to shave that off a little bit to keep it from, same thing there. Just go around it. This stuff sands really easy. There's another one. And that should do it. Now, you can also notice on the back here, you've got some little pieces that are around there. Just take a little piece of sandpaper like this, go around and sand them off so that it's smooth. Doesn't take long to do this because this stuff is pretty soft. At least right now it is. And you've got that pretty well done. Okay? I'm not going to do them all. I'm just going to do the one. You can take these and do whatever you want. You can make them different colors, anything you want to do with them. Okay? Now, once you have that done, set this over here, brush this off. You can put the feet on. Okay, because we're almost done. Now you want to put the feet on just before you put the liquid vinyl on. Okay, let me pull some feet up here. Here's our feet. Get rid of that. Pull out the feet. We're going to do 4 on this one. And the dot goes right in the middle, like that. Push it down. These don't stick to this very well. That's why you want to wait until now to do it, because if you do it any sooner, a lot of times they'll fall off. So I always wait until just before I want to put the vinyl on. There's another one. Another one. And then what you do when you've got these all on there is you just squirt on your liquid vinyl. And that one, okay? Put these back in there. Now we got the liquid vinyl. Get it down. Like I say, it's cold today, so it's going to take a little bit of getting it down in there. And then just squirt it on. You want to get a little bit around each one of them, like that. And that should be enough. And you want to take your brush, use the big brush for this, and just dab it down. You don't have to, you don't paint like a paintbrush. Now you want to make sure that you get around the feet with a little bit heavier than you do the other, because what'll happen now is the reason why we do this is because the vinyl will actually stick, become part of the foot, and that way it won't come off anymore. Okay. Just dab, 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 dab. What the vinyl also does is it helps waterproof the wood. Just like that. And if you want, you can just go right over the top of it, but I would suggest you don't. I've done it either way, but I prefer not to do it, because what you're going to have to do is sand it off a little bit later. Now you'll notice sometimes too you get a little bit too much on there. I just use my finger. It's the easiest way to do it, and just wipe it off of the foot, each one of them. because it washes right off. And I've got it on my hands, but just wash right off. And wipe them down. This is where, when you're working, especially in this kind of weather, this is where you can get chapped hands. That's why you wear gloves. And then once it's dry, you can go ahead and paint them. Just go on to the next one. Okay, now that we've got that one done, set that back over here on that. Bring up these. These were part of something else. This is scrap wood that I've got here right now, the 4 of them, as you can tell. Here's a piece that's got, and these were scrap, but they're still good, so I'm going to use them. These have already been dotted. And what we're going to do is use some of the plastic wood, and we're just going to make new ones out of them, because I don't like the way they are right now. And we'll probably have to end up sanding these too, but we're going to use the regular soft one here, and we're just going to dab it on. Like we're doing. And then once we get this part of it done, we can go around and do whatever else we feel like doing with them. There's so many different ways to do these things, and you're limited only by your creativity. If you can think it, you can do it. I mean, when it comes to these things are just crazy fun, and it's probably, I sell a lot of these, a lot, and I'm going to show you a lot of different samples that I've got here. And these will have to be sanded down a little bit too. But this is how you do. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can go around the edge now and put a little bit heavier, because the glass won't sit on that part of it. Get out of there. I got the wind blowing here and it's driving me nuts, as you can probably hear in the microphone. All kinds of ways of doing these. You know, it's kind of funny, because you can even, when you get this done, if you want, you can put a heavy coat on. You can actually go in with a cookie cutter and put an imprint in it, and then paint the cookie cutter, the imprint. There's all, you know, you can use sponge to do these. You can use all kinds of different things. That's a little bit high. There. So that's how that works. You can leave it like that, or you can just push it back in a little bit. And I think I'm going to push it back in, because I don't feel like doing all of them that way. Clean the brush a little. Now I'm just going to bring this back in. And you have a whole new design. The first time I've ever done this. Kind of neat. There we go. There's another different design you can make. I gotta say, it goes on and on and on and on. There's no limit to what you can do with these things. Okay, get this stuff all put aside. Lay that one back up there. Get these out of the way. Put all this stuff away over there. Throw that in the trash. Clean that off a little bit. Okay, now what I'm going to do is show you all the different kinds that are possible to make. Now, some of these, what you got to do is go online and figure out, you can go online to go to clip art, just type in clip art, search, and you'll find all kinds of stuff. But you have to be careful in some cases about copyright on the Alfa Romeo ones I'm doing. Alfa Romeo doesn't care if you do it. The only ones that do are Ferrari. Ferrari cares, they won't let you do it. And Harley Davidson won't let you do it. Those are the only two I've run across so far, and I've written to them and asked them, send them emails and say, look, I want to make some coasters with the logos, you know, with the logo of the car, and they say, yeah, no problem, because most of the people think that it's, you know, most of these companies think that it's good advertising for them, but Harley Davidson, of course, if you don't know anything about them, Harley Davidson is really strict. So is Disney. I don't mess with anything Disney. I don't mess with anything Harley Davidson, and I don't mess with anything Ferrari. Any case, here's a whole bunch of them that I've done. I'm going to lay them out, and then you can look at them. And they come in all shapes and sizes. You can do whatever you want. I'm going to have to get these pretty close together. And I lay them out here, and I'll pull the camera in closer to them. And the final one, which is a nice little one to do now and then. Okay, now I pull the camera off the tripod here, bring it over here a little bit. These are all different ones that are done. There's a Lamborghini. This is just another size. There's a Rose, Felix the cat, Cobra. I do them all for all the different branches of service. This is the only one I've got left right now. Fish, there are 4 different fish in this set. They're all painted after a real fish. These I use for whatever, because you can't use NFL either, or any of the pro sports. But you can take these and make them in the colors of your team. This one is a different one, and then this one. Now this one up here at the top, as you can see, is for a wedding. Robin and David, June, and you put the date on there. You can make these any color, any shape, whatever. You can put their names on there, the date, and you use the champagne glasses, and you set the champagne glasses on these. Just another little type of a souvenir that you can do. Now, as far as prices on these things go, it depends on what they are. Excuse me. Like the fish, the fish I charge a lot more for, and Felix the cat I charge more for, and the roses I charge more for. Other than that, the round ones are all pretty much the same, depending on what you do. The octagon ones, the freeform ones, are all a little bit different. Anyway, I think that's probably about all we're going to do on this. Just remember that you want to try to make you one of these. That's the template, because it makes setting the feet on there a little bit easier, and you want to get the feet evenly so that it won't tip while you're doing it, okay? Okay, we got that one. That one's done. That one's done. There's the Alfa Romeo. There are those. I'm going to finish those up later. Those are also a custom for a Mercedes guy. And I guess that's about it. So the next thing we're going to look at is magnets, but that's going to be a while before I get to those. Okay, before we close out the coaster section, I wanted to show you, you remember the ones that we just got through doing that were sanded, and I had to sand them down because they were done? I finished those up, and this is what they look like now. Okay, signed on the back. And another one that I did was what I call the free form. I finished up a set of those. You notice I have gloves on today. My hands are so chapped from doing all this. Anyway, that pretty much handles the coaster problem. Now, I was going to do another module on magnets, but then I started thinking about it, and I thought, you know what, doing magnets and doing coasters is a lot the same. There's not a whole lot of difference. And actually, the only difference is that you're using magnets, you're gluing magnets on the back instead of feet. So we're just going to go ahead and do the magnets right along with the coasters. The processes are exactly the same. You use foam core. Instead of using foam core, you use a foam core. The little stuff like, where the heck is it? I've got some here somewhere. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Using foam core like this, you know, the thin stuff, you've all seen it comes in different colors. You can use either black or white, but we're going to use this instead of using wood, and you just glue magnets on the back of it. So before we go any further, I want to go through a list of what you're going to need, the materials and the tools you're going to need for this. The first thing you need, and you definitely have to have this, is a cutting board. Go out and find the largest cutting board you can find. It's just a kitchen cutting board. They last a lot better, and they work a lot better than the other kind. You can see that it's got the meat channel in there. So we need those. You need one of those. You're going to need either, to cut, you're going to need either the trusty old box cutter, or what I prefer is the X-Acto knife with number 11 blades. These work a lot better. And I keep the cover on it like that. You're going to need a pen. You're going to need a steel rule, not only for measuring but for cutting. I've got several of them laying here. Foam core sheets. You can buy it in the great big sheets, or you can buy it in the smaller sheets. I'd prefer the smaller sheets because it's just easier to handle. You don't have a big unwieldy piece of foam core. Types of glue to glue the magnets on the back. There's two kinds. You can either use plain old wood glue, which works just fine, or you can use what I call what's called 3-in-1. So we can get a little bit closer here. 3-in-1 glue. The nice thing about this is that it dries very quickly. In 10 minutes it's dry instead of 3 or 4 hours. And so I use this. You're going to also need your plastic wood. I'm not even going to bother showing you that. Liquid vinyl. I'm not going to bother showing you that. Then you need photos or not, depending on what you want to do with them. You can put little designs on it. There's all kinds of things you can do. You're going to need paint and brushes. I've got a couple of brushes here that are the types that we're going to need. Both are oval. There's one that's this is what I call a medium, and this is a very, very fine one. Okay, and this is the one that we use the most of. Okay. And of course you're going to need paper plates. Paper plates for paint, whatever. Okay? That's about it. Now, what I did was, you're going to also need this is a metal that I got at a metal tray that I got at I can't remember, Goodwill or one of those places, dollar stores. It's an old Christmas one, because you'll need that to take your magnets and stick them onto there like that. Or you can do what I did, and I made a whole bunch of these little stands. It's nothing more than a 1x1 piece of dowel, piece of the board that we use for the backs, and I use scraps to cut those out, and a fender washer on top. See the fender washer? And you glue that on with the 3-in-1. The reason why is because, let's say I've got one little magnet here that's got the magnet on the back. I painted the back of it already. You can just stick it on there like that, and now you can work on it very easily. You can move it around any way you want. The magnet is strong enough to hold it on there so that you can move it, so that you can paint. These come in very, very handy. Make them any way you want. I mean, it doesn't really much matter. You can use a piece of 2x4, a scrap, and you can put 2 magnets on it. For some of the magnets like this one that has 2 magnets on it that won't work on the single ones. That's when the tray comes in handy, just like that, okay? And these we're going to finish up painting while we got them here. I brought those out to show you. Clip art. Boy, there's all kinds of clip art and stuff like that to use. I've cut out a bunch of shapes here. I've got some shapes that I'm going to show you that are in various stages of being done. There's one here with 2 magnets on it. It's not done yet. It hasn't been painted. It's just got the plastic wood on it. There's another one like that. There's one like this that has just the foam core showing through, and it's put a little border around it. And another one like that. Okay? What we're going to do is we'll paint a couple of those to show you how it's done. And I'm going to take the plastic wood and do that. Now, here is the piece of foam core that I cut all the shapes out of. I wanted to show you that. There's still a little star on there that I haven't cut out yet. And that's the foam core. And this you just pitch when you're done with it. It doesn't really much matter. Now, the shapes that you can get, go online and type in, go to your browser and type in clip art shapes. And there are all kinds of shapes that you can do, and you can modify them. As you can see here, there are shapes that I've made, and you can just, you take them and make them however you want. Let me hold it up. There we go. Here's the one that I use for my so-called free form, or is up here. You can take this one that's here and just, I can get it in there better. There we go. That's a nice pentagon. You can change snowflakes. You can change this little thing here. And I've got another one here someplace that shows the same thing, but a different shape cut out of it. There we go. It's the same thing. I just cut it out differently. Okay. There's all kinds of these things that you can find online. They go on and on and on. And like I say, I've shown the red to how you can modify them, and do what you want to them. However, some you don't have to modify, others you do. And there's tons and tons and tons of this stuff. Now, when you print them out, you need to print them out on a heavy cardstock, like the ones I've got here. I just use a heavy cardstock that I get it. You can buy it anywhere you want. There's all kinds of, and all the shapes are here that I made. You can draw your own if you want. This is one that's like that. All the different kinds. There's tons of them. Here's a big wide oval that I drew. And another little piece like that. See the clip art on the back of it? And an oval like that. Okay, you only need one of each, and then you can just trace over it onto the foam core as many times as you need it. Okay. Now, another thing that you're going to need are magnets. Magnets come in a box or in a package like that. They're available just about any place, any craft store. They're ceramic magnets, so they're smooth. They won't scratch or mar. Glue them onto the back. I've got an open box here that I've been using, and we'll show you those. Now, before we get started on doing it, I'm going to show you a couple that I have finished. There's a lotus. This one is already spoken for. These have not been sprayed yet. And, of course, Alfa Romeo for the guy that has the Alfa. Okay? Takes care of those. Now, another thing that we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to make your own glitter. Here's a magnet. It does nothing but glitter. It looks like a gold nugget. Get it up close there. There you go. Now you can see it. And we'll make the glitter. I'll show you how to do that. Another thing that you can use from time to time, if you can find one, this is a meat, whatever you call them, how you inject stuff into meat. You can fill these with liquid lead. You have to cut off the end of it. You fill them with liquid lead, and then you can use this to draw lines or whatever. I use these once in a while, but the problem with these are that sometimes they get clogged up if you don't keep working on it. The tip will dry, and then all of a sudden it won't squirt anymore, and you push hard and you got liquid lead everywhere. It's just crazy. Okay, let's go from there. What I'm gonna do is put it on pause, bring it down to the table, and we'll go from there. Okay, I've got a piece of scrap here of the foam core that I'm going to use. I drew some grid lines on it so we can see how it's working. Okay, now what you want to do is take your steel rule, your X-Acto knife, and you want to cut out a square. I'm going to cut out 2 of them. This size. Now we have our squares. Okay, you can see those. Now, there's a technique to putting the liquid lead. I'm not going to glue the magnets to the back of these because I don't want it, because it'll take a little bit of time for them to dry, and I don't want to wait for it. So, we want our plastic wood. Now, one thing that I didn't do on the last one to show you is that on the plastic wood, you can actually take and cut a small square hole in here, and it retards the drying and the filming over. It doesn't dry out as fast. And then just take another one of these and lay it over the top like that, and it keeps the air out of it. Okay? But for the purposes of this one, I'm just going to pull it off. Okay, this is the brush we want. This is going to be kind of difficult to show, but I'm going to do the best I can. Okay, take some of the plastic wood, and you go right along the edge like this, and you go down. Okay. Don't try to dab it on yet. Just go down right along the edge. Then once you get down to the end, you can go along and smooth it out. Push it in for however far you want it to go. Comme ça. And let's go on to the next one. It's better the plastic wood that you use on these is actually very thin, or the thinnest you can work with without it being runny. This is even a little bit thinner than the plastic wood that we were using before. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. But you can see how it's done. This one would take 2 magnets. And the reason why you put 2 on it is because when the larger ones, you don't want them to turn, to spin when they're on the refrigerator or wherever you have them attached. Okay. Now when you get to this point, it's kind of hard to work with it. So what you do is you hold it in the middle. You have to be kind of careful. And we'll finish it up real quick. And it's best to do this part of it first. I even do this before I put before I glue the magnets to it, because it can dry, and once it's dry, you can lay it on this surface and glue the magnets onto it, and that does it. Just set it aside. There we go. Wash the brush. Remember, wash the brush. Wash the brush. That takes care of that. Okay. Now that we have that done, we can close this back up. Yeah, I put gloves on because my hands are so chapped. It's crazy. Okay, we're done with that for the time being. Now, let's go in here and look at a little one. These magnets, what I've done is I've taken my little, some of my paintings. They look like photographs on here, but they're actually paintings because they've been reduced so much. And I've stuck these on here. I've painted the back black, you can see, and we're going to put a black frame on it. Now for that, we want this brush, our paper plates, some black paint. Don't need much. And just hold on to it like that, and start painting. You have to be very, very careful here. You have to go along the edge, hold it a little bit to the side like this so you can look right down into it. So you can get the edges there. There we go. You want to get the edge down in there, and you want to try to stay off of the painting if you can, or off the photograph as much as possible. You're going to have little pieces where it's on there, but you have to be very careful with these. When you're doing paint, it's not that critical because you can always go back in and touch them up. These, you make a boo-boo, you're done for. Takes a pretty steady hand. And there we go. Now it's all painted around there. Now it's just a matter of going in and finishing it up. And it will spin around on there a little, but it's no big deal because you can always just move it back. Just take your brush and hold on to it and push it over to the side a little. And I think that one is pretty well done. Just leave it there and let it dry. And that takes care of that. These little stands come in real handy. And it took me a while to come up with the idea. What I was doing before was using the pan or the tray to do them with. And now we've got another one here, and this is kind of hard to see, but there's actually some spots on there where I said we have to touch up, where you can touch up the wood on there. This one we'll have to use the very thin brush. Let me pull this in a little bit closer so we can actually see what's going on here. There we go. Okay. I have everything set up here to start. We're using the very, very fine brush. It's not, there we go. What we're going to do is start with the yellow, or with the orange, or peach, or whatever color it is. You have to be very, very careful here. And you just go around right along the edge to where the yellow got down onto the color. You can use a very fine detail brush to do this too, but I'm partial to the oval shaped. Where else we got? Right along here. Very carefully. Now you're going to see that once you've got it done, you're going to find that you have a couple of spots here where the paint has kind of, you don't want it to show that much, so go back in and just put paint around places in the middle. so that it looks consistent. Okay, wipe the brush off, clean it off because we got to use the other color. And we go to the pink now. There's a lot of it here. And it's just a matter of getting it done. There really isn't any way to keep this from happening. I've tried different techniques, none of them work. So just a matter of going back in and doing it this way. It keeps them nice and professional looking, I guess. I hate using that term, but there's one little place right here in the corner. There. And then go back in and smooth it all out. Put a little bit of texture to it. And there we go. That takes care of that part of it. Now I've still got to do the edges. I'm not going to do those right now. I'll do those later, finish it up. Now, I promised you that I was going to show you, oh, there's a couple of spots there I missed. Let me go ahead and finish it up before I go on to the next thing. I told you that I was going to show you how to make your own glitter. The problem with glitter, when you try to buy it, you're pretty well stuck with what they offer. With my technique, you can make any color of glitter you want. You can use different sizes of glitter. There's all kinds of different things you can do with it, and we're going to show you that here in just a minute. I'm going to set that aside. Okay, and we're going to need this. Okay, let's look at glitter. As I said, glitter comes in, you get gold, you get silver, you get champagne, you get red, you get green, you get orange, you know, and champagne, but that's about it. Now you can mix those colors together, but the thing the one problem they have is that it's very runny. If you try to put it on too heavy, you're going to have a problem. So what we're going to do, we're going to make a blue, green, and copper glitter that's mixed together. We're going to use, there we go, our gallery glass. Spray a bunch of it and put a bunch of it down here. Now there we go, we got the dreaded tails. Now let's pull it out. Yuck. Okay. Finish that up. I got it all over my gloves, as you can see. I'll wash it off. Nice thing about gloves are everything will clean right off of them. When you pull them off, they'll be inside out, and you can put them right back on again. Okay, now that we've got that part of it done, we've got the stuff down there, we're going to take the glitter. Green. Some blue. I can get this thing turned. Some blue. Some copper. Now you want to use these brushes. You don't want to use your good brush. You want to use this kind of a brush, and you just stir it all together. Mix it all in. And you can see that this is still very runny. This is the way most of the glitters come, because they figure you're just going to paint with it. But this one, we're not going to paint with. we're going to actually and we need more. You want this, when it's done, to be a very thick consistency. And that should probably do it. And if you get it's a little bit too thick, then just add some more guck to it. And this is going to be a little bit too thick. Maybe not. Just got to mix it up real well. Actually, it came out pretty well. You can see how thick it is. And then what I'm going to do, you see how the brush is all messed up? That's why you want to use these cheap brushes. I'm going to use this scrap piece here. And you can do pretty much anything you want with it. It will stick, even though right now it's not sticking very well, but it will when it dries. And it gives it a lot of texture too. You can stack it up however you want to do. This stuff will dry. This stuff dries pretty quickly. It'll be dry in 3 or 4 hours. Come on. There we go. It's just not cooperating at all. And you just keep moving it around. You can texture it however you want. This will make a nice little magnet once it's done. And you can see it there now. Just keep moving it around until you get it where you want it. Kind of like you're working with the plastic wood. Just move it around. Get it where you need it. And then you can go around at the end, after you've finished this part of it, you can actually go around the edges and put plastic wood on it to give it a frame, kind of like. And move it around so you get some texture to it. Just make sure that you cover up everything. And there we go. Now you've got your glitter. I don't use glitter that much anymore. I used to have a thing for it. I had a couple of ladies who wanted all kinds of stuff done with glitter, and so I did it, and I used it on a couple of my wall art, my three-dimensional wall art, some sculptures, as you'll see later on. And I've even put it on cigar boxes. So, and I guess that pretty much does it for this. The next thing we're going to look at is probably glass paint. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to do in that. So I guess that's about it.